Some people don't raise their voice. They don't posture, they don't demand attention. And yet, when they walk into a room, everything goes quiet, not out of fear, but because their presence commands respect. You can feel they've conquered something most never will, their own mind. They don't react when insulted. They don't flinch when challenged. They carry the weight of self-command, and the world feels it. This isn't arrogance, it's restraint. It's the quiet certainty of someone who no longer hands their power away. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That realization isn't poetic, it's practical. And in the real world, it's a weapon. In a culture addicted to proving, explaining, and dominating, stillness becomes unsettling. A person who doesn't rush to react becomes unpredictable, and unpredictability shifts the balance of power. A man who cannot be provoked becomes unreadable, and what cannot be read is rarely underestimated. Often it's respected before it's even understood. This video is about that kind of power, not control over others, but mastery over self. The type of inner authority that makes people pause before crossing you. You'll learn 4 Stoic rules that don't just make you calm under pressure. They change how others perceive you. They make you harder to manipulate, harder to provoke, and far more difficult to dismiss. Welcome to Stoic Philosophy Daily, where your story matters. Share your experience or your biggest struggle below. Every comment you leave is a gift. Here, your voice matters. We read with care, answer with heart, and treat your journey as part of our own. This is more than a channel, it's a circle of strength. Now ask yourself this: in a room full of noise, will your silence speak the loudest? 1. Stay calm when others lose control. Power isn't loud. The man who shouts, rages, or tries to dominate a room may look strong at first glance, but it's only surface strength, a mask that cracks the moment life pushes back. True strength is quiet. It's the person who keeps his center when everyone else spirals. In a world obsessed with noise, reaction, and aggression, calmness becomes rare, and precisely because it's rare, it becomes intimidating. Loud men reveal themselves instantly. Calm men reveal almost nothing. And that mystery, that refusal to be read, is often more unsettling than any raised voice. The man who can look chaos in the eye and not tremble becomes impossible to predict and difficult to manipulate. Stillness becomes a signal. It quietly communicates, "You can't pull me off balance." Epictetus warned, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." Every time anger or frustration dictates your actions, you hand over the keys to your mind. You become predictable, easy to steer, easy to provoke. People quickly learn where your buttons are. However, when you remain calm and refuse to give the reaction they expect, that leverage disappears. Your calm turns into pressure they can't read, and uncertainty makes them cautious around you. This is the quiet force that once set warriors and philosophers apart, an aura of inner command, grounded and silent. Calmness in the face of provocation is not weakness, it is control. The world owns the reactive man. The calm man owns himself. And nothing is more unsettling than someone whose emotions cannot be predicted or manipulated at will. When you hold steady in the storm, you stop moving to the rhythm of outside chaos and begin acting from your own reason and values. To the undisciplined, that restraint feels threatening because it exposes their lack of control over themselves. Try this. The next time tension rises, pause. Feel the surge in your body, but don't move with it. Let silence be your armor. Ask yourself, who is really in control here, the situation or me? Watch how the energy shifts when you don't rush to react. With repetition, you'll notice something change. Restraint becomes natural. Your presence carries weight. Imagine how different your days would look if no one could pull you out of character. Like a fortress in a storm, your stillness becomes your most dangerous weapon. At Stoic Daily, we believe true strength is measured by restraint, not reaction. Drop in the comments. Calm is my superpower. When was the last time you held your ground in the face of chaos? 2. Refuse to explain yourself. The world is addicted to validation. Social feeds are filled with people posting every move, every meal, every opinion, hungry for approval, afraid of being misunderstood or left out. Why? Because deep down, being accepted feels like a sense of safety. The crowd becomes a mirror, and most people would rather blend in than risk standing alone. But here's the truth. The person who moves without needing applause, who doesn't feel compelled to justify every step, becomes unpredictable. And in that silence, they command a rare kind of respect. Seneca captured it perfectly. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most people explain themselves not because they must, but because they're trying to calm imagined fears of judgment and rejection. The Stoic mind works differently. It understands that truth is not a debate, and an audience does not decide worth. The more you explain yourself, the more power you give away. It's like laying your cards on the table for anyone who asks. When you stop arguing with the ignorant and stop defending what doesn't need defense, your silence unsettles the insecure. People cannot control what they cannot define, and that uncertainty makes them cautious around you. Living by your own standard instead of the shifting whims of the crowd creates quiet strength. Yes, you may be misjudged, you may be criticized, you may even be feared, but that is often the price of freedom. The person who can act, endure, and keep moving forward without an audience is never fragile. He is not easily swayed. He sets his own direction. He keeps going when others hesitate, and that self-direction makes him difficult to challenge, let alone control. Try this. The next time you feel the urge to justify a decision or explain yourself, pause. Ask, am I seeking understanding or am I seeking approval? Let your actions stand without commentary. Notice the internal shift when you stop defending and proceed. What happens to your confidence when your actions speak for you? With repetition, you'll feel your energy return. Your presence becomes harder to read, harder to provoke. Over time, you'll realize this. Silence is not emptiness. It is an authority. Self-trust becomes your sharpest edge. At Stoic Daily, we believe true power doesn't announce itself. Drop in the comments, my silence is my strength. When was the last time you let action speak instead of explanation? 3. The power of emotional detachment. There's a quiet, unsettling power in the person who no longer lets emotion rule them. In a world addicted to reaction and drama, the one who stays composed, who feels everything yet is owned by nothing, becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability, when others expect you to crumble, carries its own kind of danger. Most people allow every slight, every shift, every careless word to dictate their inner state. But the one who practices emotional detachment moves differently. He breaks the cycle. Instead of reacting, he pauses, reflects, and responds on his own terms. This is the true life cycle of self-mastery. First, you are ruled by emotion. Then you learn to observe it. And finally, you choose which feelings deserve your energy. Marcus Aurelius said, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." To the average person, this level of calm feels unrealistic. How can anyone remain steady in the face of insult, betrayal, or loss? But to the Stoic, this is the highest form of power. Detachment is not numbness, it is clarity. The mind is not cold, it is deliberate. You feel anger, grief, or disappointment, but you refuse to let pain or chaos dictate your direction. The storm still rages, but your calm becomes a fortress, and that composure unsettles those who are desperate for a reaction. This kind of strength is rare and often misunderstood. Many mistake detachment for weakness or avoidance, but in truth, it is one of the most intimidating forms of confidence. The person who cannot be pulled by praise or crushed by blame becomes impossible to control. Each time you release the urge to explain, defend, or chase what is already gone, you reclaim freedom. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." True freedom is not the absence of pain. It is the courage to remain whole in the presence of it. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The emotionally detached mind does not waste energy fighting what cannot be changed. It accepts loss, change, and even cruelty without allowing them to define identity or direction. Over time, this posture creates an aura of calm authority, one that quiets even the loudest voices. The cycle of emotional detachment is the cycle of transformation. You stop chasing control. You loosen attachment, and in doing so, you discover a power that cannot be taken from you. Try this. This week, when emotions hit, pause and acknowledge anger, envy, and disappointment. Name the feeling, but do not obey it. Ask yourself, what does this really threaten? Is it worth giving away my peace? Notice how clarity replaces urgency when you refuse to dance to the world's tune. With repetition, restraint becomes natural. Your calm deepens. Your influence grows. Over time, this will become clear. The quieter your center, the harder it becomes for anyone to use your emotions against you. How would your life change if you carried your feelings instead of being held by them? At Stoic Daily, we believe mastery is proven in composure, not control. The most dangerous person is not the loudest, but the one who cannot be moved from their center. Drop in the comments, "I carry my calm through chaos." When has emotional detachment given you the advantage? 4. The power of controlled presence. There's a certain gravity to someone who walks into a room and draws attention without ever asking for it. No raised voice, no need to prove anything, just an aura of quiet certainty and unshakable restraint. This isn't arrogance, it's control forged from the inside out. In a world addicted to noise and chaos, that kind of control becomes real power because it stems from inner stability. Nothing external can shake it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." The strongest don't announce their strength, they live it. Their presence is shaped not by performance, but by discipline practiced in private. The first layer of controlled presence is this inner foundation. Self-mastery is built from countless small moments. Choosing restraint over impulse and breathing before reacting and letting time reveal what force never could. Every act of self-control becomes another brick in an invisible fortress of character. That fortress reshapes how you move through the world. The Stoics understood that dominance over others is hollow if you haven't first conquered yourself. The controlled person spends energy deliberately, not scattering it in arguments or chasing validation. He knows his energy is currency. His focus, patience, and ability to wait instead of react are resources he protects. What begins internally expands outward. Others sense it in the way you listen without interrupting, refuse to be baited into drama, and stay composed when chaos breaks out. Your silence and steady gaze make people cautious because they cannot read or manipulate you. Inner order projects outward gravity, shifting the energy of a room without a single word spoken. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This freedom is built in small moments, the pause before speaking, the calm when others lose composure, the steadiness when life applies pressure. Over time, discipline becomes visible. You walk more slowly. You speak with intention. You listen fully. Each layer of self-control adds weight to your presence. People feel it even if they can't explain it. Your composure, forged through struggle and repetition, becomes something others unconsciously trust and orient themselves around. To reach this level of control, your own emotions must first challenge you: rage, fear, desire, attachment, and come out understanding that your real strength lies in what you refuse to let rule you. The result is a presence that commands without force. You no longer need to prove or defend yourself. You are. Your silence carries the weight of someone who has survived storms and learned to walk through them without flinching. This isn't suppression, it's freedom. The freedom to feel without being ruled, to love without losing yourself, to walk away without bitterness, to stand alone without fear. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This is the secret of controlled presence. Your stillness unsettles those who rely on chaos. Your inner command becomes a mirror, quietly reflecting the lack of discipline in others. Each time you choose restraint, you anchor yourself and subtly reshape the environment around you, bringing calm and clarity into any space you enter. Try this. This week, before responding to drama or provocation, pause to consider your response. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, is this where my energy belongs? And what happens if I let silence speak for me? Notice the shift in others and in yourself. Over time, you'll feel more grounded, less reactive, and more respected. Control, in the end, is not suppression. It is a freedom that cannot be taken from you. At Stoic Daily, we believe stillness is the strongest stance. Drop in the comments, I lead with calm, not chaos. Where will you choose restraint over reaction this week? True power needs no noise. Real strength never shouts. When you truly master yourself, you stop chasing control and begin radiating it. Your stillness becomes your signal, your silence becomes your message, and your calm turns into a quiet dominance that unsettles anyone who survives on chaos and reaction. In a world addicted to noise, the composed man doesn't fade into the background. He stands apart, not as someone to overlook, but as someone to respect, and sometimes to hesitate before crossing. Let this be your edge. Every time you choose composure over chaos, you reinforce an inner fortress that nothing external can crack. This is how real power is built, quietly, repeatedly, without performance. True power doesn't need to prove itself. It remains steady, unbothered, and precise. In a world full of performers, become the anchor. Let your calm shape your reputation, and let your presence speak before your words ever do. At Stoic Philosophy Daily, we believe the quietest energy is often the most commanding. If this message resonated with you, subscribe and walk this path with us. Drop in the comments, stillness is my advantage. Where will you choose calm over chaos this week?
If you're seeking more, discover the full path on my channel, Stoic Philosophy Daily.